Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today for this very exciting announcement that we're very pleased to have the opportunity to make here at Michigan State University. This is the official Moonlight Celebration. The sun is out, but it's the official Moonlight Celebration. Just stick with us here. I'm Kathy Wilbur. I'm the Senior Vice President for Government Relations here at Michigan State University. And I'm very privileged to serve as the MC for today's ceremony. We're celebrating the awarding of a $10.5 million federal grant to Michigan State and Merit Network's Moonlight program. I'm going to read this to make sure I get it correct. The National Telecommunications and Information Administration, NTIA, Broadband Infrastructure Program grant has been awarded to Moonlight to deliver statewide broadband infrastructure and connect Michigan's many disparate internet pathways. Merit receiving this NTIA grant, it's a very important acknowledgement of the public and private collaboration that's taken place that will ultimately benefit Michigan citizens. The project addresses critical infrastructure gaps by enabling technologically advanced middle-mile infrastructure across Michigan. This will allow interconnecting local community networks and internet service providers to bring affordable, robust, high-speed broadband internet to homes and businesses in Michigan's unserved and underserved communities. Following today's speaking portion of the program, there will be an opportunity for members of the media to participate in a Q&A session, a scrum, while attendees may join tours of this very interesting and exciting STEM building and visit our research and STEM displays. These projects represent only a fraction of the work and collaboration taking place at MSU that support understanding, connectivity, science, and scholarship in various capacities throughout the state and beyond. Before we introduce our speakers, very quickly, I'd like to acknowledge some people who have joined us today. Ms. Callie Fox with U.S. Senator Debbie Stabenow, Eric Keller with U.S. Senator Gary Peters, Ann Brown with Congresswoman Alyssa Slotkin. We were honored to have the Congresswoman on campus yesterday, and we're honored to have Gary Peters join us here in early August. And we'll speak about the senator later. Other folks who have joined us today, State Representative Julie Brixey in the green, can't miss her, State Representative Graham Filler, and State Representative Angela Whitwer. We're also very honored that Michelle Lang, who is the acting director for the Michigan Department of Technology, Management, and Budget, could take the time to join us, and Dr. Dan Hurley, CEO for the Michigan Association of State Universities. With that, again, thank you all for taking the time to join us today, and appreciate your continued support of Michigan State University. Now, let me welcome and introduce Andy Burke. He's the Special Representative for Broadband in the U.S. Department of Commerce. Mr. Burke joined NTIA as Special Representative for Broadband in January 2022. We consider the issuance of this grant to Merit and MSU as no doubt a highlight of his first year at NTIA. Prior to joining NTIA, he served as mayor of Chattanooga from 2013 to 2021 and calls himself a recovering politician. Mr. Burke.
Thanks so much. It's an honor to be here, and I will say that I thought to myself, I'm obviously been out of politics too long because I walked in and I remembered, why am I not wearing green all over the place? So let me start with that apology. I should be wearing green. I already apologized to the president for that, but it is great to be here with you on what is really a tremendously positive occasion. And so to our Lieutenant Governor, who has been a real voice in this area now for many years, as an engineer, you know, he probably could build this network himself. He really does know the technical pieces in an amazing way. To our president, who has been really out in front, the fact that a university is getting this grant is a phenomenal piece, and we thank you for participating and being part of this. I just want to say to the leadership, including you, Joe, and the history that Merit has in this area, it's a great honor for me to be here and for NTIA to participate in this. So I do think about Moonlight. You know, the moonlight happens in the darkness, and without the moonlight, you can't see anything. When you turn on the lights, all of a sudden there are new areas to explore, things to create, people to see, and things to do together, and that's really what we're talking about here. And so on behalf of President Biden, I'm honored to be here to present Michigan State with a $10.5 million grant to enable this project. This is an open access network. There are a lot of people in here who probably don't care what that means, but just to make sure that we understand it, this is basically the backbone that we're talking about that enables others to latch onto it and then to create those last connections that go to households overall in 74 counties to serve 17,000 unserved households. 17,000 unserved households. That's amazing and a great use of our dollars. This is a big deal for us because we know what it's going to, how it's going to impact these families. Last week, I was in Oklahoma, and I gave a grant to the Pawnee Nation College, and a young man there named Jimmy, who, by the way, had relatives in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Jimmy told me that when the pandemic hit, he couldn't take his finals that he was taking online because he didn't have internet at his house, and it cost him an extra year of going to college rather than graduating. Now, we know that there are a lot of rural Michiganders who find themselves in situations on the education side where they don't have access to the internet and can't get the education at Michigan State or someplace else that they want. And we also know that there are people out there who are trying to participate in our economy, or by the way, just trying to connect to their grandkids or get a recipe online and can't do any of that. And so for us, this is our mission. President Biden has made a pledge that every American will have access to affordable, reliable, high-speed internet. And Michigan State and this grant are at the forefront of that promise. So for us, we know that, that we need everybody involved in this. And one of the great things about this is that this is a bipartisan issue where we have leaders in Congress who are putting their money where their mouth is. We have Senator Peters, Senator Stabenow, of course, Congresswoman Slotkin. All of them voted for this money, which we are using here today, and it's really important to thank them for their leadership in making this happen. So thank you to you. As I said, I was the mayor of Chattanooga, Tennessee. Chattanooga is the first gig city. We built out a fiber network to every single home and business for 600 square miles, and we turned on the fastest, cheapest, most pervasive internet in the world. As a result of that, we built our economy with this at the center. We were one of the highest wage growths in the country for the 2010s. And then in 2020, Forbes said we'd be the #1 place for new jobs. Now, 2020 didn't work out exactly like we planned, but nevertheless, the point is the same. I have seen up close what happens when you both build out a network and make sure that every person in every neighborhood has access to it. And then there's also a piece that goes to fairness. So for us, we made sure at the end of 2021, one of the proudest things that I've ever done as mayor, that every family with a child on free or reduced lunch would have free 300 symmetrical broadband. Again, a huge piece in making sure that every person in America can succeed. And the reason that I'm happy to be working on this issue for the president is because this is what he knows at his core. America cannot truly prosper in the 21st century unless every American has access to this resource. And so what we're seeing is a change. Instead of internet being thought of as a luxury, it's now thought of like roads or water or the electrical grid. Everybody has access to it. And our leadership here in Michigan, Governor Whitmer and our Lieutenant Governor Gilchrist, they are at the forefront of this movement. So as I said, right now we are at a down payment stage. But the Department of Commerce has $48 billion to make sure that every American is connected. On top of $14 billion to the FCC and $2 billion to the United States Department of Agriculture, we are going to make sure that Moonlight is everywhere and that darkness is nowhere in the United States. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Burke. I was very pleased that you shared how much money is left in the coffers so that we know that we can apply yet again, and I believe that we will. It's now my distinct honor to be able to introduce Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist. A quick note, last week some of us were in Detroit, board members and some executive leaders of campus, and walked into a restaurant where the Lieutenant Governor was trying to enjoy a personal dinner, but we descended upon him. He was very gracious with his time, and we very much appreciate that. But what you should know about the Lieutenant Governor, his own career has been very focused as a problem solver. He is an engineer by training, as Mr. Burke mentioned, but he uses thoughtful innovation, progressive reform, and efficient modernization of policies and programs, all to improve the work life for hardworking families here in Michigan. From spearheading campaigns for equality and justice to harnessing technology to solve real problems, his focus has consistently remained on serving the public and getting things done. He has his own technology background because he had been at Microsoft for 4 years, where he helped build SharePoint, something that most of us in this room are familiar with. And he has also been a very big proponent and a fan of our Apple MSU Academy in the city of Detroit, which he has visited a number of times. Our first graduation is this Thursday, June 30th, in Detroit, of our first class from that academy. With that, welcome Lieutenant Governor Gilchrist.
Thank you, Kathy, and good afternoon, everyone. It really is a pleasure and a privilege to be here for this announcement. I want to thank you, Andy, Mayor Burke, all the titles that you deserve, the leadership that you've shown, frankly, not only in Chattanooga, but in the country now, in this role for making sure that all of us in America have the chance to be connected, the potential that unlocks from any person who has gone from disconnected to connected is something that we all should fight for every single Michigander and every single American. I do want to also acknowledge being here at Michigan State University. Yes, I did go to Michigan. It's true. But I have to say that this partnership here with Merritt and Michigan State University is really a very exciting one. It's an exciting one because I got a chance, had the privilege to sit at the table when we were first discussing this Moonlight project with Merritt Network, with the Quello Center, which actually I have history with going back to 2016 in the city of Detroit when I worked in municipal government on using data and information to help make government more transparent and more responsive and more accountable through an open data program that I did as a city government official. I share all that just to say how proud I am of this university, of this partnership, and of the fact that the state of Michigan has and will continue to compete for every resource to connect every Michigander. So I want to acknowledge all of the leadership here represented. I also want to thank Melissa Wu, the CIO of MSU. We have a lot of work still to do. But today we celebrate this big step forward to connect the people of the state of Michigan. And NTIA and this $10.5 million grant, I want you to know that I said to Andy that every time they come with $10.5 million, we will welcome them with open arms. Because here in Michigan, we are looking to invest in our people and in our communities. And this grant will help Merritt build on its Moonlight fiber optic network that is already in 74 of Michigan's 83 counties and expand access to even more particularly rural communities and households. Now, Merritt's worked hard to build up this middle mile network, connecting the local networks that can then connect to consumers on the ground. They have secured letters of intent from 3 last mile service providers who are willing to enable Moonlight in their territories and connect further underserved locations. And so thanks to these NTIA funds, this collaboration with Merritt and other service providers, they're going to begin to expand high speed, high quality, high capacity internet access to 17,000 more households. We're also going to be able to improve existing service because for those of you, we need to understand that all internet access is not created equal. Everyone does not have the same experience of the internet, and if your connection is inconsistent, If it does not have enough bandwidth, you cannot enjoy and cannot take full advantage of this asset. So this is a big deal in making sure that our internet access is equitable and, again, responsive to the needs and the potential of every person in our state. Using high-speed internet access as our tool, we can make transformational change for our communities. Make no mistake about it, this is the most important and transformational infrastructure investment that we can make as a state. We can grow our economy, improve health outcomes and education outcomes, connect families and small businesses to the global marketplace, and even lower our state of Michigan's overall carbon footprint. We can create great paying, high-skilled, in-demand jobs in every community in every corner of Michigan on this backbone. Now, throughout my life, I have personally borne witness to the difference that high-speed internet access can make for people. As a teenager, I gained a passion for helping people have more access to technology. I built enough computers to start a computer lab when I was 16 at a rec center in Detroit on the west side, where I used to play basketball when I was younger than that. And at that lab, I got a chance to teach a course on how to use computers. I got a chance to do things like show a woman who was returning to the workplace after her kids got a little older how to use Microsoft Word to write a resume. I got a chance to show one of our elders how to use the mouse playing solitaire. Y'all know that solitaire was like a tutorial for the mouse, right? Double click, click, drag, all that. I got a chance to show her how to use the mouse playing solitaire, which was a full circle moment for me because my grandma taught me how to play solitaire. But most importantly, I got a chance to show a little girl named April the internet for the first time. Now, this was 1998, so the search engine was Alta Vista. Few people remember Alta Vista. And so we typed the word tiger into Alta Vista. And what came back first was the logo of the Detroit Tigers. Old English D, that's great. Everyone recognizes that. It's iconic. But the second thing that came back was a photo of a tiger in the jungle. And so April looks at me. She had these like big circle glasses. She looks at me and she says, "Is that tiger at the zoo?" I said, no, sweetheart. That tiger is in India. I don't know what April did in the rest of her education. I don't know where her career or her life took her. But I do know that when I saw the imaginary explosion that happened in that young girl's eyes and mind, I knew that something would never be the same within her. And that is the experience that every person in Michigan, every person in every household, in every community deserves to have access to. And that is what this unlocks. Nowadays, I'm hearing from people like Sally, who lives in Irish Hills in Washtenaw County. She wrote to our office and talked about how for years she has struggled to get internet connectivity through her satellite dish. Now, she wrote, I only have my iPhone, which I often must take upstairs and hold the phone above my head to receive internet access. That's not much better. But to connect people like Sally, Governor Gretchen Whitmer and I have set an ambitious goal of providing 100% access to high-speed, high-quality internet and 95% adoption over the next 5 years. We established the Connect Michigan Task Force and the Michigan High-Speed Internet Office to coordinate investments in high-speed internet across Michigan. For the first time in the history of our state government, we have people whose entire job it is to better connect people to the internet in Michigan. We've invested $28 million through the Connecting Michigan Communities Grant Program, boosting access to high-speed internet to almost 19,000 homes and businesses. We've secured $5.2 million in federal funding for validation audit to help us get a better sense of who actually has high-speed internet access and who doesn't, and where the investments that we will make going forward will have the greatest impact. And just in the month of March, we signed the Building Michigan Together plan, which is going to connect thousands of families and businesses online through a $250 million investment in this infrastructure. All that's to say that I am very proud of the progress that we have made together. And through collaborations like this one, we can connect more Michiganders to all of the opportunity that the internet represents. we can ensure that communities in every corner of our state, from Wayne County to the Upper Peninsula, have affordable internet access that can allow them to experience their full potential in a better connected Michigan and better connected world. So Governor Gretchen Whitmer and I look forward to continuing this progress in partnership with all of you represented here, and let's go get a better connected Michigan. Thank you so much.
Well, we assume your young friend has been to Michigan State and graduated now and is probably working at Microsoft or Apple or Google, who knows. Thank you for educating all of us in many ways. Next, we'll hear from one of our Board of Trustee members, Ms. Renee Kanacki Jefferson. Trustee Kanacki Jefferson was first appointed to the Board of Trustees by Governor Whitmer in December 2019. She currently serves as a professor of law at the University of Houston Law Center and is the Joanne and Larry Doherty Chair in Legal Ethics. In addition to her teaching role, she is the Director of Outcomes and Assessments and a member of the Diversity, Inclusion, and Equality Committee. She teaches constitutional law, professional responsibility, and a seminar on gender, law, leadership, and power. Prior to joining the University of Houston, Renee was a professor here in our College of Law, and we're sorry that she has left us, but all good things seem to end up in Texas at times. We don't know why that is, or back at Michigan State. You are back. Welcome, Trustee Kanacki. Thank you for being here. Jefferson.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Vice President Wilbur, and thank you to Mayor Burke on behalf of the Department of Commerce now for being here with us, Lieutenant Governor Gilchrist for your remarks, your support, and I want to also take a moment to thank President Stanley and Vice President Wu for your leadership in this project, but also how you lead our institution every single day. I am so grateful that you are at the helm. And on behalf of the Board of Trustees of Michigan State University, it's my pleasure to welcome all of you here today to campus. Thank you for taking time out to celebrate and recognize this moment with us. This is such an exciting moment, and not just for Michigan State University, but for the entire state of Michigan through this partnership with the Merit Network. Hundreds of thousands of Michiganders currently lack any internet connectivity to their homes and businesses, and more than 750,000 households in Michigan face barriers related to affordability, to adoption, and digital literacy. When it comes to high-speed internet access, this grant is going to help bridge that divide across all of Michigan. And when we close that divide, we create connection. And we know through connection comes opportunity. The last 2.5 years have been difficult. The pandemic created an onslaught of challenges for K-12 and higher education when it came especially to remote learning for our students. I mean, who knew how quickly we would come to depend on something that hundreds of thousands of people in our state still do not have reliable access to? And we know that lower income students and students who live in rural areas have an especially difficult time obtaining access. 47% of students who live in rural areas have high-speed internet access at home, only 47%. That's compared to 77% who live in our suburban regions. We know that when there's a lack of internet access or a reliable connection at home, that students are going to have a more difficult time participating in the learning process. And we want our students here in Michigan to have the most reliable resources at their fingertips to help them thrive in their education wherever they may be. We can do better, and we will, thanks to this joint partnership and grant with the Merit Network. As I just mentioned, this idea that with connection comes opportunity. It means students will have the opportunity to receive a quality education from the comfort of their home, if need be. It means the opportunity for better access to health care and to government services. It means opportunities for economic engagement, for employment. And at the same time, this grant lays the foundation for new businesses to come to Michigan, to keep our students here in Michigan when they decide where to launch their own careers, where to raise their own families. So where does Michigan State University fit in this equation? This grant furthers our mission and our responsibility to provide an outstanding education at the undergraduate, the graduate, and professional levels to all students, and more broadly, our responsibility is to extend that opportunity to all residents across Michigan. We at Michigan State have a long history of educational and economic outreach far beyond this campus that we're sitting on here in East Lansing right now. We are a land-grant institution. We touch all of the counties throughout Michigan with our MSU Extension program, bringing educational and economic development programs. And this grant furthers our mission of connection and opportunity throughout Michigan with increased access to the high-speed internet and broadband that is so badly needed in this state. This grant aligns with Michigan State University's 2030 strategic plan in that it helps to promote an equitable path to learning. It also reinforces our dedication to student, faculty, and staff success. High-speed internet and broadband will help create an environment where excellence and opportunity thrive, whether it's right here on this campus or hundreds of miles away across the Mackinac Bridge. Wherever Michiganders may be, opportunity through connection is key. This grant brings us one step closer to that. Go green.
I did not hear the mayor say go white, but I think he doesn't quite know the drill here. So I'm sure he's educable. So we'll thank you, Trustee Kaneki Jefferson. Much appreciated. It's my great pleasure to introduce the 21st president of Michigan State University, Samuel Stanley. Since his arrival in 2019, yes, just before a pandemic, he has advanced the safety, diversity, and excellence of MSU. The strategic planning process that Trustee Kaneki Jefferson just referred to really he's led that process, and it will guide the university to the year 2030 and beyond. Please join me in welcoming President Samuel L. Stanley, Jr.
Well, thank you so much, Kathy, and thank you so much, Trustee Kaneki Jefferson, for describing broadband's potential for growing opportunity and equity and how those values align with MSU's 2030 strategic plan. I simply could have said it better myself, so thank you. I'd also like to thank our other speakers today, Special Representative Burke from the U.S. Department of Commerce. How wonderful that we've had the chance to translate, that the administration has made possible the chance to translate your extensive experience in Chattanooga and the transformative work you did there to the rest of the United States. We're really grateful for your service, so thank you again. And Lieutenant Governor Gilchrist, what can I say except a Wolverine who's always welcome on this campus? So you really, seriously. The Lieutenant Governor does remarkable work. We're so fortunate to have him in this position. His knowledge, as we've learned more about today, in technology and how technology matters to people across all spectrums of need is spectacular. So again, we're so glad you're here, and thank you for your kind words. I'd also like to say, although they haven't spoken yet, my congratulations to Joseph Sawaski from the Merit Network. The Merit Network is extraordinary. This is something very unique that Michigan has. He'll tell you more about it, so I'm not going to spoil any of his speech, but it really does make a difference, so let's hear it for him as well. And to Dr. Bauer from the Quello Center, the Lieutenant Governor was nice enough to mention that center. It's an integral part of our work at Michigan State University, and we look forward to hearing from you in a minute. And then last, but certainly not least, and the people I wanted to thank is Executive Vice President and Chief Information Officer Melissa Wu, who's an incredible ambassador for Michigan State University in the areas around IT. She's a national leader in EDUCAUSE, and I want to thank her for her leadership in this project as well. So I could just quit there, but I'll say a few words. I think it's quite appropriate that an initiative that's dubbed Moonlight illuminates Michigan State's land-grant mission so well. It was almost a century ago, in 1927, that Michigan State College, a college of agriculture at that time, joined with farm organizations and Consumers Power Company to provision a dozen farm families with what has been called the state's first rural electric power line. That experimental line ran not far south of us between Mason and Dansville. People know where that is, I assume, in the audience. At the time, fewer than 10% of American farm households had electricity. But thanks to governmental and other initiatives, by 1960, nearly all would enjoy the benefits of the electric grid, including long-term economic growth for many communities. Like electricity, roads, and other connective systems that we might take for granted, as we've heard today, broadband is increasingly vital for people to thrive in the 21st century. But as we've also heard, many communities remain underserved. It gives me great pride that these are exactly the places where Michigan State University does its best work through our programs such as Extension and Ag and Natural Resources. Solving pressing problems in partnerships with those we serve, whether again in rural communities or Flint, Michigan, this is the work we do as an institution. And it's been that way since the university's founding, and we're proud of our long reach of outreach to the people of Michigan and beyond. Our MSU 2030 strategic plan, which you heard about, builds on this past, including continuing to advance partnerships supporting economic development and enhancing the future workplace. Moonlight is a perfect example of how our legacy of serving even our most remote communities informs our present and future. The better broadband Moonlight offers will extend new opportunities to rural residents, including making the life-enhancing information shared by organizations such as MSU Extension more available. It will also support other important activities from precision agriculture to telemedicine, which we learned from the pandemic has become increasingly important. This could actually be life-saving for people in these communities. Moonlight, then, is a bright reflection of MSU's dedication to all the people of Michigan and represents another reason this institution, to me, is truly Michigan's State University. I want to thank our partners and all those Spartans who are part of this important program, and thank you all so much.
Thank you, President Stanley. And of course, he too would be very humble and not indicate to this audience that what allows things like the Merit Network and MSU to work together is the atmosphere, the platform that the President has established that has allowed many of us to be very innovative and creative in our work here, a little different than sometimes a traditional university is thought of. And many of us appreciate that very much. Let me introduce Dr. Melissa Wu. She's our Executive Vice President for Administration and our Chief Information Officer, as has been indicated. She is also the chair of the Merit Network. Dr. Wu is the Executive VP for Administration, providing leadership for enterprise-wide administrative services, including university infrastructure planning and facilities, human resources, procurement and logistics, information technology, and sustainability. Additionally, Melissa serves as the president of the MSU Foundation. Melissa, too, will be very humble and not bother to mention to any of you that it was really because of her leadership at Merit. I remember the conversations well when she came to MSU and said, we really need to take the lead on this. And Merit can do it, Merit should do it, but we need to have a university that will stand shoulder to shoulder with the Merit Network. And with that, we have received the Moonlight Grant. Dr. Wu.
Thank you so much, Kathy. First of all, thank you so much to the NTIA for honoring us with this award, and welcome to East Lansing. I hope you're enjoying your time here. I also want to thank a group that's not represented on this platform, and that would be the hardworking teams of the MSU Office of Sponsored Programs and the Grant Office of the College of Communication Arts and Sciences. You all know how hard you've been working with us on this, and we really appreciate your support. Michigan State University, Merit Network, and the Quello Center are collaborating on this first of its kind in the country initiative. I'm really honored to serve as co-PI supporting Dr. Johannes Bauer, and also as the chair of the Merit Network Board of Directors, as was mentioned. Okay, so what is Moonlight? Well, our friends at Merit Network have a bit of a knack for acronyms, and Moonlight stands for a little bit of it. It stands for Michigan Open Optical Network, leveraging innovation to get high-speed technology. It works. This initiative proactively assists in building out what's been mentioned before, but middle-mile networking to support high-speed broadband internet to unserved and underserved areas of Michigan. As you've heard, high-speed broadband isn't a luxury anymore. Leveraging affordable broadband access to maintain quality of life and provide equitable opportunities for all is an imperative. And you might have heard Trustee Kanaki Jefferson mention this in passing, but according to current conservative estimates, more than 380,000 Michigan residents do not have access to broadband internet. Think on that a moment. 380,000 who basically don't have access to some of the things that some of us take for granted. Also, the state of Michigan is currently 33rd in the nation in terms of connectivity. The establishment of this new digital expressway will help address critical infrastructure gaps. It'll enable local internet service providers to bring affordable, robust, high-speed broadband internet to homes and businesses in parts of Michigan where they lack access to these services. Moonlight provides public-private partnerships and lowers the cost for commercial internet service providers and communities. It accelerates progress for Michigan and showcases how public-private partnerships can overcome obstacles that can hinder a sole entity's ability to decrease the digital divide. Partnerships of this nature have the potential to make Michigan the best connected state in the nation. All right, so some of you might be wondering, why MSU? Why is this our business? Why are we involved as partners? As the state's university, as President Stanley mentioned, advancing opportunities for all Michiganders is our business, and it is our mission. After our speaking program, we invite you to explore the displays that are behind you in the hallway. That's where you'll discover the many ways that Michigan State University can deliver greater access to healthcare, education, digital equity, and digital literacy, all made possible through increased broadband connectivity. Finally, why Moonlight, and why now? Moonlight showcases the power of partnerships and enables equal and open access to broadband services that will propel us into a future of greater opportunity for all Michiganders. 33rd in the nation? We can do better. We will do better. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wu. As Dr. Wu mentioned, our next speaker will be Dr. Johannes Bauer. He is the director of the Quello Center for Media and Information Policy here at Michigan State University. He is a researcher, a writer, a teacher, and I love this phrase, an academic entrepreneur. Think about it. He's interested in the digital economy, next generation media. A mouthful, but very important. His position as Quello Chair for Media and Information Policy facilitates the pursuit of rigorous and actionable research. Educated as an engineer and a social scientist, he obtained advanced degrees in economics from the Vienna University of Economics and Business in Austria. But Michigan State's been his home since 1990, so he has been here for a while. But he had the privilege to spend extended periods of time affiliated with Delft University of Technology in the Netherlands, the University of Constance in Germany, and the University of Zurich in Switzerland. Not some bad assignments, but all because of his great skill and, again, his academic entrepreneurship. Welcome, Dr. Bauer.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Kathy. And now, being speaker number 6 in line, after some really great and informative talks, I have to be a little entrepreneurial with my own remarks because I crossed off my own speaking points as you were all talking. Let me give you a little background on the Quello Center before I go into the other parts that I wanted to mention. The Quello Center is epitomizing, I think, I hope, a Michigan State University's land grant mission. We conduct rigorous research on the one hand, and we believe in its translatability to solve practical problems. And we have done this for many years. We've been involved in digital inequality research for a long time. The current project actually goes back to a joint submission to the National Telecommunications Information Administration in 2017, when we were hoping to get some funding for our mapping work, which we didn't receive, but in some sense, maybe this is a little bit of late payoff for this initial set of ideas that we submitted. Before I go more deeply into the role of a research university in overcoming the digital divide, let me first of all thank NTIA actually for this major award, and all the other speakers who already addressed their support for this project. It will not only enable Merit to build this middle mile network, it will also have major repercussions beyond those 17,700 or 17,800 households that will now become connected. And this ties us back to our own research. Our research on digital inequality shows that there is at least 4 levels of digital divides. access to connectivity and access to devices is only the first level. Without having access, without having the devices, nothing else will follow. But there's other levels of digital divide. The second one is digital skills, the skills needed to take advantage of these technologies. And I'm really pleased to see that the current family of federal programs that is now sort of benefiting the country, including the state of Michigan, really pays close attention to digital equality and digital skills in addition to digital access. But there's two more levels of digital divides that we also need to address, and where the university and our work comes in, I think, with great force. The third level is the fact that outcomes, harnessing the benefits of digital technology to the full benefit of society, also requires to come up with applications and services that really have a clear vision of what it means to live in a good digital society. This is really an all-hands-on-deck moment. It requires the engineers, the social scientists, the scientists to come together to develop joint solutions. We are not very good at this, right? We are more comfortable in silos, and both in the academy and in government and in communities. We really need to learn to go outside of those silos and work across them to really come up with these solutions. So what we need to do is we need to educate people to use those technologies. We need to educate software developers to come up with human-centric technologies. We need to educate people who implement those technologies in organizations, both in the public sector and the private sector, to really design these technologies in ways that benefit humankind and our people. And this is where the university comes in as a complementary set of knowledge that can help technology developers, that can help infrastructure engineers, that can help policymakers to solve those puzzles. And I can offer here, and I'm pleased to offer the resources of the Quello Center and my colleagues at this university to really help the state of Michigan and all the stakeholders on the ground, in the private, in the public sector, in the nonprofit sector, to co-create this promising digital path forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bauer. Well, you may be looking up here and thinking, oh, one final speaker, but not really. We've done something a little different. Unfortunately, both Senators Peters and Stabenow and Congresswoman Slotkin were unable to join us in person today because of DC responsibilities and other responsibilities in the districts. However, Senator Stabenow was very excited and willing to provide us a video for today's celebration. And I want to make sure the Lieutenant Governor knows this. Senator Stabenow is not just a one-time MSU alum, but a double. And Gary Peters also has an MSU degree, so just think you should know that. But Senator Stabenow, many of you in this room have interacted with her. She is a constant advocate for MSU, not just in Washington, D.C., but here in the state of Michigan as well. In fact, she was recently here at Michigan State. She is the chairperson of the Senate Ag Committee, and she held the first field hearing for the 2023 Farm Bill here on campus. Extremely well attended. A lot of people had a lot to say, and the committee got a lot of listening in. But we're very excited that she was willing to do that. So we're very pleased that she could join us by video today with her congratulations on securing this award.
Welcome to everyone. This is a great day, a great announcement, and thank you, Andy Burke, for being in Michigan. Welcome, welcome. We're glad to have you. You know, these days, high-speed internet isn't a luxury, as we know, it's a necessity. Our small businesses and students, people who work remotely, and families all rely on it to reach their customers, to attend classes, even to see their doctor. That's why I'm so excited about the huge new Broadband Infrastructure Program grant that's headed to Michigan. This grant will help connect almost 17,000 households in 74 Michigan counties with dependable and affordable high-speed internet. It'll be a game changer for our communities. And good news, there's more to come through the infrastructure law. So, thanks to the Biden administration, Merit, and Michigan State University for working together to get this done.
Thank you, Senator Stabenow. Callie will ask you to take our thanks back. Okay, we're at the final speaker, and he's a great wrap-up act. For those of you that haven't met Joe Sawaski, he is the president of the Merit Network. He is not just the president, but he's also the CEO. And for those that don't really understand what Merit is, and I hope that he will speak about this a bit more, it's a nonprofit corporation governed by Michigan's four-year public institutions. Merit owns and operates the nation's longest-running regional research and education network. It was formed in 1966 by Michigan State University, the U of M, and Wayne State University. Joe, we welcome you to the podium.
Well, Kathy, thank you for that kind introduction, and I want to say thank you to all the insightful and really moving comments that I heard today from leaders in Michigan and from the federal government, and I'd like to give them another round of applause for what they're doing for this state. You are perhaps the hardest act I've ever followed in my life, so I will just be out there with that, and Kathy has set the bar very high. And Andy, you said before this session that as a former politician, you sometimes run to the cameras. I can tell you as a technology leader, sometimes I run from the cameras. So anyway, thank you all again. As was mentioned, Merit Network is one of Michigan's oldest technology organizations, having been formed by Michigan's research universities, Michigan State University, the University of Michigan, and Wayne State University in 1966 as a shared services technology organization. We're an independent, nonprofit, apolitical, technical organization connecting Michigan's universities, community colleges, K-12 schools, libraries, governmental entities, and others that we think is the highest performance network capability in the state. As a fun fact, Merit once operated what was called the National Science Foundation Network for the nation. We did that from the late 80s into the early 90s, well prior to my tenure, I may add. And you now know that little thing is the global internet. So Michigan and Merit have a very storied place in the history of the internet, along with former Vice President Al Gore, or so the running technical joke goes, for those of you who may know that. Merit's current mission is connecting organizations and building community to help make Michigan a better place to learn, discover, work, and live. And Merit has made very significant progress in doing just that over the decades. We now connect over 400 anchor institutions in this state with some of the highest performance network capabilities. In fact, our network serves, you may not know this, over 2 million people almost every day in a state of somewhat less than 10 million people. So thank you to the Merit team for keeping that network up and running. Let's give them a round of applause here today. Not quite McDonald's, but nevertheless significant. We're now turning our attention to the next grand challenge that the pandemic unfortunately highlighted for us, and that is connecting students and citizens in their homes, because homes are the new classrooms, offices, and telemedicine rooms of the 21st century. We'll never be a residential service provider, but we can help other internet service providers, or ISPs, do that faster, better, and less expensively. Middle mile networks are the high-capacity, long-haul network routes that connect local communities to key internet exchanges in big cities. With this project, we're actually leveraging past investments from the NTIA, from the Broadband Technology Opportunities Program of 2010. And we're now scaffolding new advanced optical capabilities on top of that physical infrastructure across more than 4,000 miles of Merit's outside plant infrastructure. Our infrastructure is an asset for the citizens of the state, and this project is a way to maximize the use of that public investment to benefit communities, ISPs, students, homes, and businesses. As an analogy, Moonlight creates a high-speed digital Autobahn of sorts across the state, with on-ramps all across the state, with future local ISP projects connecting and creating the surface street connections to homes and businesses. So if that helps your understanding of what a middle mile network is, that's the best analogy we like to use. Moonlight is an optical equipment upgrade that will allow other service providers high-performance transport to reduce their costs, accelerate their projects, provide more effective service, help their bottom line, but most importantly, to serve those who currently don't have access to modern internet service, which is a requirement in the 21st century. This independently developed early infrastructure project sets a strategic foundation for the state of Michigan as they begin to plan broadband programs to make our state one of the best connected in the nation. This is a once-in-a-lifetime era of federal infrastructure investments, and we're happy and thankful to be part of that. We believe this project is a national exemplar, public-private partnership model, and we already have formal letters of support from both private enterprise and community networks. Among them, Highline Internet, who has a huge project in the Upper Peninsula that was funded by another federal program, Barger Creek Wireless up in the northeast part of the state, and also from Northern Michigan University with a very innovative private wireless network that they run all across the Upper Peninsula. Moonlight will propel Michigan to the forefront of the states, and as was mentioned, ours will be one of the first open access middle mile networks in the United States, and we are really, really looking forward to the possibilities. Our goal is to have no student or citizen left behind in the 21st century. With people in places like Newberry, Ironwood, Bel Air having the same connection possibilities as those in Ann Arbor, Royal Oak, and Grand Rapids. We're extremely thankful for the funding the federal government has provided us and the trust they've placed in us to deliver, and we will, just like always. I am very thankful to Michigan State University for this powerhouse collaboration. We couldn't have done this project without you. So President Stanley, Melissa, Johannes, thank you very much for all you've done. We want to really propel this great state forward, and we think this is going to be one of the most astounding projects in the United States. So thank you for coming today. Thank you for your support, and we look forward to serving you. So thank you.
Well, Joe, you didn't disappoint. That was great. It was a wonderful explanation of Merritt, your history, and what Merritt and MSU can do together for this state. Let's give all of our speakers and our distinguished guests another round of applause. We do thank you all for joining us. Please do not feel as if you have to leave. We will ask the members of those who have spoken to stay up here in order to have some interaction with the media. But for those of you in the audience, again, we would like you to go outside, view some of the displays that are out in the hallway, participate in some tours of the most fascinating building that we have on campus right now, the STEM building, a wonderful combination of our history, our iconic power plant, and yet a new building that has been built around it. So we hope you'll take advantage of that as well. Again, we believe the demonstrations in the hallway, again, showcase the power of connectivity and its importance for many, not just of MSU's research and outreach activities, but other activities around this state as well. Thank you again for joining us, and one final round of applause. Thank you.
Each speaker individually so that we can move through this fairly quickly and let them get on their way to the tours. First, we're going to present Andy Burke. Has this program, similar programs happened in other states?
So we've had 14 different awards under this particular grant process. This is one of those 14, roughly $320 million, and Michigan has gotten $10.5 million. This is one of the most innovative grant awards of those 14. It's also got one of the highest number of households served, so 17,000 people, and that really is one of the things that made it grow in our award process.
Second question, how long is the network expected to take to build out?
Well, I can let Joe do that, but as I understand it, this is going to be built out in less than a year, which is fantastic because we want to do this right, but we also want to do it quickly.
Would you agree with that, Joe?
Yeah, the project has a one-year deadline. I think there's a one-year extension, but we're shooting for 1 year.
1 year project, 1 year extension. Thank you. Anything else? Andy, thank you. I think you're off the hook. Lieutenant Governor?
Looking right here. Okay.
Is this going to be overseen by the Office of High-Speed Internet when it's eventually fully staffed?
Great. So this project, like we hope every internet service related project in Michigan will be in partnership with the High Speed Internet Office, but this grant is to Merit and MSU, and Merit will be managing it, and we'll just be helping to support it in the best way that we can.
Terrific. Where do potential vendors go to support the grant, or have all software and device manufacturers been decided upon?
That's a question for Merit to sort out, but I think that, again, the reason we're excited about this is because it creates a lot of opportunity for new partnership and new opportunity for connectivity, and so that's what we're going to focus on.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. President Stanley? Did you have to bid against other universities to take on this project?
So I actually think that's something that Mr. Burke might know the answer to, but my understanding is that this was, people had to submit projects, so these were submitted projects in a competition and were awarded based on, I'll use the pun, merit, to put them forward, and that's how it's usually done in the federal government. So I'm sure there were competition. How many of those competing groups might have had universities, though, is something I can't answer.
Very good.
There were hundreds of applications, so we were one of 14.
There were hundreds of applications, and we're one of 14 that won.
Thank you so much. That's information. Very good. I do not have any questions. Let me ask on the line for Melissa Wu from the CIO of Michigan State. Last call. Oh, here's one. One moment. You thought you were done. Who will be responsible to maintain the network, and where is that money expected to come from?
We are really, really honored and pleased to be partnering with Merit Network that has the expertise and resources to completely build this out and maintain this network. We have an extremely strong partnership. Joe Sawaski is a fantastic president and CEO of Merit Network, and that's where we expect much of the maintenance to occur.
Thank you. I think we're down to 36 participants, so I think everyone's just listening. Johannes Bauer with Quello Center. Will the Quello Center be studying the effects of moonlight?
Yes, we have lent our research services for a long time to support infrastructure projects, and I've collaborated with Merit Network for many, many years. And we plan to continue to do so. And hopefully our research will really create those strong synergies that we envision, right, where the infrastructure project goes hand in hand with those complementary services. I mentioned all the positive upsides of the work. We will also work with them in their cybersecurity operations to make sure that some of the potential downsides also do not materialize, because there's risks if people get technology that they don't handle properly. So both will mitigate the negative effects and amplify the positive ones.
Very good. Evaluation is everything. Joe Sawaski with Merit Network. Any questions from the team? Where are the network lines expected to be placed, and who are the providers expected to be?
Well, we have 103 different access sites on our network all across Michigan, so it's really not a fiber build project. It's about opening up our network at existing what are called co-location facilities, little huts you'll see sometimes on the side of the roads where our network interconnects. And then as far as providers, I've mentioned the 3 that have already signed letters of intent to participate on this, the last mile traditional ISPs. So Highline Internet, primarily right now in the Upper Peninsula, Barger Creek Wireless in Northeast Michigan, and then Northern Michigan University all across the Upper Peninsula and the northern parts of the Lower Peninsula. But we expect this program to expand well beyond those 3. This is just a start.
Very good. Give it a second here. It is a beautiful day outside. Joe, thank you very much.
Thank you.
That concludes the Q&A session.